Greetings from the Nerd Cave. Stan Gibilisco here with a little further commentary on a proposal that I made last night for a Native American solar and wind energy cooperative. I found out that the Sioux Nation, the Native Americans here in South Dakota, have already begun a wind energy venture on their reservations. And I applaud them for this effort. I have received some comments on the other video that I made that are very interesting and bring up something that I need to bring up now too myself. Sort of making a vlog out of this, and I'm going to leave comments open here too. And that is that I have mixed feelings on this whole issue. I own some property in Wyoming, which, of course, as we all know, is heavily dependent upon coal. And we also have heard an awful lot on both sides of the issue having to do with coal. Our current administration is apparently not terribly fond of coal, and as in general, and to the extent that some of the people in my party, the Republican Party, I admit it, have been calling this administration that they're engaging in a war on coal, etc., 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 and that wind power and solar power are, well, the sun doesn't shine at night and the wind doesn't always blow in South Dakota, only about 90% of the time, but not all the time. And so these are expensive and experimental technologies, and that is to say wind and solar are. And I'm quite well aware of that, having written the book entitled Alternative Energy Demystified, in which I try to maintain a neutral stance on these issues as to, I certainly don't want to turn them into religion or politics. I want to try and look at the scientific side of things. And I'd like to conclude with just one little idea here for you. Suppose that I were to get tired of big number 8, my trusty Toyota Tundra pickup truck, and the way that it guzzles petrol, gasoline. Suppose I were to get tired of that. Suppose I were to get an electric vehicle instead. Well, first of all, here in South Dakota, I don't know of too many electric vehicles that are going to contend with some of the weather we get in the winter. But all that notwithstanding, suppose you plug that thing in and you get X number of joules of energy out of there, and you use that X number of joules, Joules, to go from point A to point B. Well, you've taken that energy out of the wall outlet, presumably, which you probably had to have rewired in order to contend with the 50 amps or so that an electric vehicle will demand. Your electric bill is going to be mighty high if you use that thing very much. You're going to be paying a lot of money for those joules, the joules that you would otherwise get by burning petrol in that little tiny EV, which would probably get 75 miles a gallon. So, you plug that thing into the wall outlet, and you draw that energy out of there. Well, now here in South Dakota, in Lead, L-E-A-D, my hometown, that energy will ultimately come from coal. Coal! So you people who have been supporting coal are getting your revenge here, aren't you? The fact of the matter is, it's a whole lot more complicated than I realize, and I'm willing to admit that. And I'm just putting this stuff up there to generate some discussion. Don't you think it's a good thing, though, that these Native Americans on the reservation are getting up the gumption to do some creative, innovative, and progressive stuff? Whether it ever actually works out or not, whoever knows these things? Benjamin Franklin, did he know what was going to become of his electricity experiments? Electric experiments in some cases, too. Read his biography. Did Thomas Edison ever know what was going to become of his light bulb after about 1,000 or 1,500 failures? So do we know these things? I'm working right now with a company in India on a venture having to do with video courses. Do I know whether or not these are ever going to fly? No. But I'm doing them anyway. Because if I don't do them, I know they'll never fly. And if we don't work on these alternative technologies, they'll never benefit us. Because we'll just never take advantage of what might have been there. One thing I can tell you, and I hate to get a little bit political, but the Chinese evidently are burning an awful lot of coal, and even if we were to stop burning coal altogether right this minute, there'd still be an awful lot of coal burning on this planet, doing an awful lot of environmental damage, whatever that is. So we've got to weigh the, the plus and the minus here and here and here. Do we want to freeze in the dark on our way to energy utopia? What good is it if we suffer that much? So all of this, keep the discussions coming, alternative energies. What do you like? What do you not like? What are your viewpoints here? I'm wide open on this one. I'm not taking any sides. I will say this much. I like being warm down here in the nerd cave an awful lot more than I like being freezing my butt off. Stan Gibilisco signing off. Till next time, so long.